we're gonna do some early morning stream here before my day begins. Just give me a second here to check my signal, make sure everything's coming through a-okay. Make sure everything's coming through a-okay. Sounds like it. Okay, cool. So let's see. I've got that early morning brusqueness to my voice, so sassy. Hey, while I'm pressing buttons and stuff, help me out pressing buttons with me. Like, subscribe, check out my Twitter link. I just posted that I'm live on Twitter, and I am in the process of just punching some signals on Discord here, and we're going to get to work. We did a 15th level playtest in Descent into Avernus with the characters on a scorpion ship versus Zariel and her flying fortress, and that was very constructive testing. We are finding that the system that we have is a little too liberal, so meaning it's too generous with options that are provided to characters. It's robbing some characters of their unique action economy. So like for example, the roguelike cunning actions that we've been default giving to pilots. We're finding is robbing the uniqueness from some character options, like Rogue, for instance, that would be able to pilot a helm, but it isn't any different from, like, say, a paladin that would be piloting a helm. There's no reward for being a rogue versus a paladin, like so. In addition, we're finding that the square movement that we have, there's just not enough squares of movement that these ships are having. It's taking too long to be able to move from a starting point to close distance when you're already inside of an atmosphere. So I'm thinking just increasing the amount of squares that I can move per action, and not just automatically having 3 actions per round. So increasing the amount of squares, less actions. That's going to both improve the uniqueness of who is actually piloting your vehicle, on top of closing distance to get into the action faster. So those are both very, very useful discoveries, and lessening the amount of actions that each role is offering during combat. So this is the cover that we built, and so you're going to see that on the DM's Guild, right down here, DM's Guild. You're going to find that when it's done. But for now, we're going to continue development of the Momma map, and what we are currently doing is we built a more clean map that we can swap out our different map assets with for us moving forward. So hey, if you're here, drop by, say hi. Would love to hear you. I'm going to be on here for maybe where's my bits? There we go. Get that locked in. I'll be here for maybe what is it? It's almost 7 o'clock here. I'll be here for like maybe an hour and a half. So hey, dude. The Obama map. No, Momma. The chapter 6 of Light of Xaryxis has. Good morning, Indestructible Boy. The 6th chapter of Light of Xaryxis has a tower that the characters visit, and one of the things that the fetch quest that they want you to perform to get the MacGuffin to the next location of the adventure is she wants you to kill a shark, and the shark is called Big Momma. So, and they're being the Momma. The whole Light of Xaryxis thing is kind of an homage to Flash Gordon and that whole 80s vibe in general, and so the Momma is a pun of Bohemian Rhapsody. So like Mama just killed a man, so you have Big Momma throwing up the body of a space dwarf, that sort of thing. So that's where that comes from. But the puns are thick in this, which lets me know they didn't really take it seriously. But no bitterness here. We're just fixing stuff, making solutions. So I'm just getting my map lined up there. Okay, so what I had done is the map that I had previously was pretty shaky. So I built a new map, and the way that I built the map is it's 2 pixel. Each line is 2 pixels wide, and so that means that the trim edge is going to be 1 pixel, which allows me to replicate the grid. See, when I add in a new grid, that's 2 pixels, and each pixel is each square is 100 pixels, which is which you'll be able to see here down to 2 pixels. It still makes for a pretty smooth line when you pan out. But so this is a 20 by 20 grid space, and in the map, in the system we use, each square, this scale is 50 feet. So I had a 300 DPI resolution on this map when I first built it, but I've been finding maps don't need to be 300 DPI. So this is is this the first printed map that I've actually, or the first constructed map that I've built for a DMsGuild product? I think it is. So I'm discovering things alongside everyone else today. So grid size, there we go. So I am going through the process currently of recalibrating the size of this map, which was at 300 DPI, and reducing it down to the 100 DPI. So give me a second here to do a free transformation. To resize this down. See, I got these little markers down here that are letting me line up the corners. Well, roughly line up the corners. Free transform. Should line up right about like that. Now I like what the shadows are doing for the perspective of this map. Thank you. Feels like everything exploding out from the center. Right. Well, because your characters are going to start at the center of the map. So when you're at the that was the wrong button. Hold on. Scroll back. Let's make sure I have this thing lined up, and then I'll pontificate as I do. Almost there. The reason why I decided to go with that lighting perspective idea is because this is a if you print this out for a table, you can use 11 by 17s you can use 4 pages of 11 by 17 and then cut each segment of the map, like this missing square here. That would be 10 inches, so you can have a half-inch margin on your 11 by 17 page that you feed into your home printer. And if I just go with black and white, then this is a clean, just like this is a clean map for black and white, low-cost map at your table. But then if you're going to use a VTT asset, then today we're going to be continuing by coloring the asteroids in the backspace, the literal backspace of it, the space in the background. So, at your table, you take your 11 by 17. I break it up into 4 pieces. You just trim the margin. There's going to be about 6 inches worth of leftover space at the top or bottom or side or whatever of the 11 by 17 that you feed in. So when we actually build the assets for people, we can do things like, here's like your tugboat that you have that you can putter around, and like here's an asset for Big Mama. If you picked up a Kandori, then here's an asset for your Kandori. And then here's some stray asteroids that I can provide for you. And so when you pan back, we can fit these there. So now I'm eating up the 6-inch leftover space on the 11 by 17. So when you print this up, I can have those assets fed into these margins here. So, but then as a VTT piece, obviously, like all these little assets would just be separate little JPEGs or like PNG files with transparent backgrounds that you can just than just, you know, putter around the map while you're going about. Like if I had a Convoy here, then I would just have like, you know, here's your Convoy asset. You know, and it's like puttering around or whatever. That's to scale, by the way. That's how big a Convoy is on this map. So that's the idea behind all of that. Why we're building it the way that we're building it, and we went with the this explosion lighting that you're talking about, because this is if you print this out and put this on your table, it's a 20-inch by 20-inch map space for you to put your figures on and move around on. So no matter where you're at the table, we want it to always look like you're at the bottom of the map, like you're in the orientation. So by doing that circular radius effect, it doesn't matter where at the table you're at, you're always, you remain the center of attention in your world, which is kind of how D&D is. Your character is always the most important thing to you, but you're part of the same collective experience. So we're trying to design maps that reinforce that psychology, where this is the center of your attention because this is the home base that you're trying to work from, and the shark is hiding in this asteroid field, and there's different, and then we have the, oh crap, I forget. I missized this. And here's the different points of reference where different locations inside the map occur, where Big Mama may be hiding during the adventure. So number one is Topola's Tower. Over here is colonies of eels that sharks like to eat. This is a weird rock that sharks like to sleep next to for some reason. Over here are schoolfish. Over here were pelican nests that already got eaten by all the sharks, but it still smells like pelicans, so when they show up there's no pelicans. And then over here is a weird partial statue fragment of a dwarf face. And if you find Big Mama over here, she ate a dwarf, so and spat him out. So you'll find dwarf remains and tools. And so I think I can actually make this just a touch bigger. So I can unlock this and I can go here. And I think I can make this just a touch bigger than that I should. But yeah, if anytime, you know, you're not actually on the map unless you enter these squares, but then anything outside of these asteroids becomes astral space or wild space, so you can just maneuver freely outside of it, and you aren't like bound in the gravity of any of the stuff at that point. So it becomes freestanding. So you don't really need to worry about the map. But if you wanted to, you would then be able to like pan out like this is a square, and then you got like another square here. So I'll have a blank map that folks will have access to, just as a blank grid that you can just print out, and there you go. And the VTT, you don't need to worry about that. But you can take this picture as a smaller piece and have it as part of a larger grid, so that if you've got your ship that's yeeting out of here, and then now you're moving at the 50-foot scale, so this becomes a single square inside that map. So I'll have a more expanded out map that you'll be able to look at this as like a small, like a hex crawl sort of piece that you can drop into your space maps. So that's the idea there. And give me a second for me to then get here. So there, and then we're gonna move here. And so this is a DM map, like in the VTT, this will be the DM map with all the coloring and stuff. And then there's no reason to have the key on the printed piece, because the only reason you would print this is to put on the table for your players. And then of course these guidelines will disappear. And yeah, that's a fragment there, so I'm just gonna get rid of that. Bloop. So it kind of reminds me of the backgrounds for the Sephiroth fight in FF7. Hey, cool, right on. Should be great. Lazy. Yes, absolutely. Because during the Lazy Susan, yes, absolutely. Because while you're running around, like you start here, and the way that we have it structured inside the adventure is that Big Mama will come back, because the way that we have Spelljammer built, unnatural creatures that exist in space can move at 10 million miles per day as opposed to 100 million miles per day. And I can ramble about that crap for the next hour. So what I want to do is I want to grab asteroid. I want to grab some asteroid image assets here real quick so I can import the color and get to work. and then I can la-di-da all day. So give me a hot second here to see if there's a rock that, oh yeah, that looks kind of on frickin' point right there. So copy image. This is how colorblind people paint. So check it out. We go in here, we grab this color asset here. We're going to drop this in just to relieve my eyes a little bit, but also to get a better feel of how this lighting works. So I can grab this as my highlight, and I can grab this so I can see over here in the RGB that this is like off stone. You know, it's mostly gray, but it's got a little bit of like a granite kind of feel to it. I don't think granite's the actual rock. I think asteroids are mostly just like grit and ice. So I'm not actually sure what kind of, I actually don't know what kind of rock this would be other than compressed dust. They're not actually rocks really. So they're just frozen, so they feel like it. So I guess they're just more like dirty ice more than anything. Some of them are rocks. I don't know, man. I ain't a space guy. So I'm just trying to figure shit out like everyone else. Let's see, asteroid. What I do need to do though is like some of these like are still a little hairy and a little rough here. We'll go back through and do a final cleanup. But this is pretty good. So let's see. We got the line art, and now we've got a decent grayscale here. So I can just go something like use that. Oops, wrong one. Where am I at? We're gonna put this in reference as a folder. That's the key. We're gonna lock the key down and we're gonna make it disappear for a bit. Asteroids. We'll call that line art. Line art. And now we'll add in another asset here. What I could theoretically do is something like this. And then select invert. Yeah, that must be a line break somewhere that's screwing that up. Let's go with, let's try that again. Let's do that. And then here, and then select. Let's see if I did this well, and then I can. Yeah, no, did a poor job. How about here? No, how? Oh, that. Weird that these all are. Why is that? Why are you doing like you do? That should not be doing that. Why is that doing that? Here. Huh. All right, well, that experiment utterly failed, so let's try it a different way. Let's try doing that, and then blurb. Yeah, we might just have to end up doing that. But that's where we start. So we'll just go with this rock. Well, let's start with this rock here, and we've got our highlight here, and we got our shadow here. I never know how exactly something's going to get built, so there's like a lot of exploration that we're doing here alongside space junk. Let's see, let's add in some more lighting effect like that. And then, yeah, there's not much different in that highlight, so I probably want to use a different midtone. So, where'd you go, buddy? Thank you. That also means I can just like trim down this whole map because most of this area just is not necessary. But let's go, let's grab that as a midtone. I bet that's gonna work. Just off gray. Watching how unafraid you are to use as many layers as needed to keep things separate really makes me feel like everything must be done on like 5 layers tops. Approach is more difficult. The fire. I will build something and then I merge it down, and then I build something and then I merge it down. So I'm constantly compressing stuff. But yeah, I I don't fear accidents because I have undo, and I build things in separate layers. So going through that, I want to use a chunkier brush than this. Hold on, let me grab my mountain brushes. I bet those will be. Here's my mountain block. It looks like a razor. Hold on, here. It looks like a razor, right? But it's got all these like little pock marks in it. So when I use it to drag stuff around, if I use a really high, like a 70% opacity, and I grab things, I can spin the brush because I'm using a Wacom tablet with an art pen. This is an automatic function that Cintiqs have, but if you're just using a scrappy little 6-inch, like this is the size of. Come here. This is where did I go? Screw you, Ufus. There. Damn it! I'm just trying to illustrate something here. Okay, so like it's like the tiny little 6x9 tablet. I do that because can I make the world work? Let's see if I can make the world work. Hold on. Does this make a difference in what you guys are going to see? I bet it doesn't. Damn it. So my setup. Now I'm just causing trouble. my computer setup is, where am I? All right, let's try that again. So I've got here. This is the edge of my monitor here. My camera is right here, and it's about a hand's width away from the edge of my monitor. My monitor is a 32-inch Acer PB7. Which is the same monitors they use at newspapers for doing layout production. It can turn, I can turn it sideways up to 90 degrees, so it sits vertically. But it's auto correcting on color, which I need because I don't see color, and because of my visual resolution limits, the components in my eye that are missing that see color also control resolution firmware inside of the eye component. And since I don't have any of that, I don't have the ability to zoom by looking at things. I have to physically move my body to zoom in because I just don't have any zoom hardware. The hardware I have in my eyes aren't built for zoom. So the resolution I have is the resolution I'm stuck at. So my keyboard is like the tab. I have the tablet. Like I have my tablet here. I have my keyboard here. And that sits on the base of my monitor here, and my monitor is here, and I'm here, and my camera is here. There you go. And so I have this much space on my desk, and that's about there's about this much space between me and my 32-inch monitor. So like that's the level of blind that I have. And then the colorblind thing makes me not really know what I'm coloring. So I have to use photo references to grab highlights, mids, and darks, and use my JPEG slider over here on Photoshop to be able to know that this is. I just know from just rote memory that this is roughly an off gritty gray with some dirt type components in it. So. And you can see I don't really need to have a lot of resolution with these things, but I'm using this chisel brush just to rough in the same shadow contours that I have. And then another brush that I can use, I think is going to come up and be relevant here, is, where's my chisel? Hold on. The stone chisel here. These are tools that I built for making mountains the Bob Ross way. But I'm going to up this, so it's a pretty good map. These different these different spikes and valleys that I have in the brush, when I push it around, it creates a lot of interesting contours automatically for me. So I can spin the brush and come at it from different angles to create different types of contour. So there, so like that rock is probably good enough for now. So then I can come through and I can do this one. So what I should actually probably do is do something like this. Come through here and grab a block like that. And then grab this mid-tone and go like this. Bop. There you go. Yeah, that worked. Not bad. Let's try that some more. So we'll do here, 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 here. This is making sausage, you know. Have you ever felt that being colorblind was hold you back in artwork? All the time. I know my my tinnitus messes with me when I'm working on music projects sometimes. I don't know your heart, Taryn, but I would bet balls to bones that that your color that your music theory and your and like reading music, I bet it's fucking fantastic. Because what I find is that not knowing what I'm doing means I better know what it does. Like I can rely on the color slider and color theory to bullshit my way through most projects. Like I get paid to make color art, regardless of whether or not they know I see color or not. The end product is the only thing that people give a shit about. So I have imposter syndrome like all the time. It is rampant with me because I never fully know if what I'm doing is legit or not. So it's tough. So yeah, I feel like it holds me back like all the time. And what I'm going to have to end up doing is shifting this grid to the front, and then here, and then dropping the opacity. And you guys will dig this. I have here. Oh, it didn't come through. I have a grid. I'll have a white grid overlay on this since it's 2 pixels by 2 pixels, or on the edges it's only 1 pixel. I can highlight the grid, and I can. Where did my toolbar go? Windows, brushes, brush. Nope, that's not the right one. Windows, toolbar. Tools? Did you bring up fucking tools? There they are. I can do this. Oh, what the hell are you doing way over here, chum? Oh, that's right. I didn't move the grid, but yeah, I have a white grid over here that I'm horribly mismanaging. Man, I am the worst. That's fun. Let's go with there. So I can make that white. So when I come through here and I make this 100% black, this is the base of how the asteroids will look. So, so when you zoom in, it'll have this lighter effect that will work great on a VTT, but it will suck for a printer. But it'll end up looking good, especially like when I put like the splash effect into the background, the color of the art. So that's the big plan here. Big brain Phil forgot to move the white portions of the map when he shunted the map around. So I'll be going through that highlighting process, but that is not here yet. But yeah, did that answer a question? Let me pay attention to my conversations here on the side real quick and close this stuff up here real fast. Bop. There you go. Don't actually need the grid right now, so I think I'm just going to conceal it for the time being. That here, clip here, clip. Thank you. And this is where we're at again. Okay, cool. So the rain in my ear is about an 80. Oh yeah. 40 megahertz. Is that how sound scales? And so I can actually tune my guitar to. Oh my God, that's awesome. I love it. See, what a fun blessing. You have an auto tune going on for yourself. That's just cool. Like the advantage that I found because of my color limits is that my ability to pick up on contrast is incredible. And the biggest problem that high grade color artists have is being tricked that a different color is a different contrast. Like you can have red and green next to each other and it may look like it has a ton of contrast, but to me, I can see like on the grayscale here, it's almost identical. So like I can do a red like this. Yeah, let's do like I can do a red like this. That probably looks like a, I actually don't know what this color is classified as, but like I can do here as like, see how I just flipped those bars? It's like the red was here and the blue was here. Now the red is here and the blue is here, and I can put this in, and that's actually off a little bit. Hold on, let me drop this down and bring this up a touch. It's still a little off. I'm trying to make a point here, computer. Don't fuck with me. There. Those are incredibly close in contrast, but they're different colors. So I can work specifically in the gray tones to make sure that I have good contrast, so that the color is an afterthought in production. Like when you build a car, what they do is they build it in gray tones. They build the model in gray tone in the Photoshop, and then they when they color the panels on the car, they do it in grays. And once they have a contrast on the car panels that they like, so that the car just looks cool in gray, they'll then go back and they'll find all the different color paints that can be produced that will color true in that span of perspective. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, red is like around an 8. Red is like around 2, and like yellow is like is more like, say, 6. So if the color panels are a 6, they know that, well, they wouldn't do. So let's go with like if the grayscale panels on the car are around an 8, they can do reds. They can do like a really deep blue, which is like around a 7 or a 6. They can bend into green, which will be like around a 6. So as long as and then of course black is a 10. So like they have that floating scale. They can be like 10% off or so from where the grayscale panel is, but they know that if this is a design we're going, we only need a dark green, we only need a blue, and we only need a red. That's our color palette limit, plus black and white. So that will allow them to build a different array of like all your all your Ford F50s or whatever. Like, I don't know cars, I can't drive, but that's like when they put a new car out for the season, they know that's how they limit their color palette, because of the grayscale paneling that they put on the car when they design it. That's called planning. And I'm not being snarky when I say that. It's future planning. It's a huge industry, because, like, for example, in textiles specifically, there's a 3-year lead time between what is being designed, what Kmart, or I don't think Kmart exists anymore, like Forever 21 has a production pipeline of getting a silkworm on market for you to purchase its wares. So it takes 3 years of planning to say 3 years from now, this is what's going to be in fashion. And we're going to tell you so because we're going to pump about $1 trillion worth of advertising and article content into fashion magazines, convincing you this is what fashion is going to be 3 years from now. Because that's how long it takes to grow a silkworm, to spit out its splooge, to then thread it into weave, to then send it off to a factory to have it dyed, cut, sewn, shipped, boxed, tagged, hung on a rack for you to purchase 3 years from now. So they're planning colors 3 years in advance. So everything's just being fed to us. Yeah. No, you cannot copyright color codes. Not that I'm aware of. I mean, there's only 250 times 250 times 250 options. So whatever that number is, I should probably just know that, but I don't. So screw you, Rufus. But you can't. That's like you can't copyright rock. Like you can't claim a patent on rocks, for instance. You can claim a process on mixing concrete into concrete, but concrete itself is something you can't claim. Has the orange they use. It might be trademark that I'm thinking of. I am unaware of any copywriting on colors. Oh, it's trademark, like Nickelodeon orange. You can trademark how you are, like, your logos and stuff like that, so people can't gank it. But the color itself, no one can like claim like you're using my orange, unless you're using that orange as a trademark. So, trademark. That's what you're talking about. Yeah, identity, function and physics, no. Identity, yes. God, that already looks so much better. And if I drop this up to full, ooh, good point. The black from the backgrounds on the line art are black. So what I'm going to have to end up doing. Fun challenge. Okay, so what I'm going to end up doing actually is probably something like this. Something probably like this. So I'll have more highlighting on the outside, and I'll have more black in the middle. Because like the interior edge doesn't really matter that much. Because like all these asteroids have like, if I get rid of this, like these asteroids don't have a lot of mark on them. It doesn't really matter. So ooh, I kind of like that too. Let's keep futzing with this stuff. I bet I could probably get away with something like this. Like that looks kind of cool. But if push comes to shove, like I can, for the color version, I can convert all of these black lines into something like this, for instance. So let's go and grab all of the line art here, and then put a layer on top of it. Zero, zero. There. Now you can see the asteroids. So we'll probably end up doing something like that. And that will probably... Oops. I did that totally on the wrong layer. But yeah, that's going to end up meshing okay. Where did my... There it is. There's my rock. So yeah, see that blends into that shadow's a little off. So actually I probably want to grab this color, and let's do that again. There, like that. There we go. But that won't affect the line art here. As such. And I got some pock marks I gotta clean up. Ooh, yeah, I gotta get rid of that. And there we go. Yeah, back to the original. So I'm just futzing around with color right now. This is me futzing in real time. This is how we make sausage and figure things out. So I like the gradient interior, inner black to the blue to the outside of the background. Oh yeah, that's looking fantastic. Awesome, cool. So I'm on the right path. Glad to hear it. My gal is my #1 editor. She pushes me to. She'll give me an honest read on how my color looks, and my brother George, he's always really critical of my color as well. But I know where his heart is at, so I can't ever take his shit personally. The only time I take things personally is when I'm in the wrong headspace. I don't have. I cannot. I cannot afford to have any kind of like pride attached to the color I do. If I screw up my color, I have to fix it. So there's no mercy there. But I'm gonna get rid of. I'm gonna get rid of this for. Oh, I think I have something highlighted somewhere. I'm gonna get rid of this for now. There. Just go back to square and get back to work. But yeah, this is the process. So I wanted to. What is it? 7:30 now. Holy crap! I still have like 40 minutes. This is crazy. I'm gonna set a timer here and do some 20-minute clicks. So I used to, when I built the color mana in my description down below, there's a link to DMsGuild that's got all the books in the color mana system I built, and of course they're 100% preview, so you can read all of them. And I recommend if you're dubious whether somebody, if you don't my work and you're somebody that's checking my stuff out for the first time, you don't know who the hell I am, click on that DMsGuild link down below and check out the books, and you can read them cover to cover 100%. If you're dubious of whether or not the stuff is good or not, I would challenge you to build a 20-level campaign from level 1 to 20, run mana 100% through it using the system that I used, and probably like around level 6 or 7, you're probably going to go, oh, wow, this is awesome. And then you'll probably come back and buy at least one of them. That's all I ask. Play the stuff, and if you like it, buy it, because all my shit's built to play. So, which shouldn't be a radical idea, but sometimes couture design is, like in fashion, is more designed to be looked at than actually used, which is why I do all this playtest stuff and this content design, because I want people to kind of grok how and like why would they use this and how is it used if they do. So I think that's really important, and honestly it's cool. When you're looking at a product page, like on DTRPG or Twitch.io or wherever, that there's a link you can click to like watch a video of it. Like the core mechanics book, which is in the link down below. If you go to the product page, there's a YouTube link to Babies with Knives, which is a playtest team that grabs just random RPGs and like, oh, this looks cool. They'll invite the creator on if they can get them, and invite them to host to DM a game for them. They'll build characters. They'll get the gist of how the system works, and then they'll do a one-shot adventure with the designer as the DM. And so I had a 6-hour one-shot, a 6th level in Eberron, and none of these guys had ever played Eberron before, but the way that they played it was through the color mana lens. So like their first introduction to Eberron was using the MTG color pie as the mechanics for color. And well, you can see it for yourself if you want, but the end result was that they freaking loved it. One of the guys was play testing the rules to the Spellpoint Warlock book that hadn't even published yet, but I'd figured out how to use it. So they're play testing stuff for me while they're playing a live game using the system that had already been published. And boy, that was they're great guys, super fun crew. But B, it was really validating to have complete strangers like to play through something like, yeah, this is awesome. A, we love Eberron. We want to play more Eberron. It was like, wow, that really. I mean, my system or not aside, as a performer, I did a good job for the system. And of course, the adventure that I'm publishing is in Eberron. So, and the adventure that I put them through is going to end up being an adventure I publish on DMsGuild as well. But it just probably won't be until 2025 until I do. But yeah, the point I was making is that you can go through those and you can read all the books cover to cover, and you can see like how I work and like what my artwork looks like and how I put books together, and you can see how they change over time. Like my layouts are evolving, which I'm excited about. And did I? Yeah, I threw that away, didn't I? Wait, hold on. Did I do that? Yeah, I did. Oh, that's right, because I screwed up the math. I have to do that all again. Oh my god, I am the worst. Let's do that all again. So we'll just pick up this area here for now. I'll grab this one. I am, man, it's I built it's like 6 a.m. here in Seattle. And well, it's 7:30 now, but it was 6 when I started, and I haven't even had any coffee yet. So I'm making mistakes left and right here, folks. We're not making sausage today. Today, folks, we are making mistakes. So let's come along and make mistakes with Phil. Here, 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 here. We'll just drop that in like that. Once I have that gradient in there, I can just kind of grab wherever I want, and you know, fill in the pieces. So I can go to the line art. See, that's working clean. Oh, that's what I needed to do. There. Now we can select the inverse and wrong layer. We'll do that. Now we're cooking with fire. I think it's supposed to be cooking with gas, but screw you, Oofus. There. Okay, cool. So now that's gonna sit pretty, and that will also be the cast shadow color, or the form shadow color that we'll use in the outlining. So that's cool. So, and I just covered up. Oh my god, I'm the worst. Let's try that. Let's try that one more time. Oh, I didn't do wrong. Oh boy, I'm dizzy. I am just dizzy today. All right, cool. Let's just now that we know that we can trim those out, I can be properly brave and just brazen almost with my abuse. And let's grab this and drop that darkness a touch. And let's go to... I'm normally not this horrible, but I'll have to prove it. I'm gonna have to prove that. So let's actually follow through on this here. Yeah, I think that's gonna be okay. This should fix the rest of that. Get rid of the line art there and this stone. Where'd my stone go? Stone. There. Cloud. Work. That's the background, that's the line. Yeah, I don't think I'm there yet. All right, I don't think I'm doing this well. I think I'm having a rough morning, is what I think I'm having, but no rest for the wicked. So let's yeah, I keep destroying that somehow. Here. Alright, well this is where I'm at, so this is what I'm gonna do. BD, let's try that again. Hey, bye for you, dude. Son of my Lucian Chaos is rubbing off on you. Hell yeah, dude. Lonely, I have to say you might be able to get some significant homebrew work done. I certainly won't tell your boss. Bye. Good luck, man. Here, yeah, absolutely rubbing chaos off on me, man. I honestly, I appreciate it. Let's be here right now. Let's just be here. I'll clean it up when I'm dead. So let's go through like this right now. Right now. Actually, I'm going to go back to the black. So if an object is less than 100 miles long, like 100 miles in size, like if an object is 100 miles or larger in size, it gains radial gravity, like a planet has. If it's less than 100 miles, it has planar gravity, like a Spelljammer ship has. And since this is a 50-foot scale map, all the objects in here are therefore less than 100 miles. So everything is has a planar gravity with an up and a down that you can stand on either way. That's how Spelljammer works. And the other thing that we had to add into the system to be able to talk about, to make that work is when objects bump. So in Spelljammer, when objects bump into each other, like when they touch, whichever object is bigger dictates the gravity plane that an object is on. So over time, as these asteroids bump into each other, like this asteroid bumping into all these little asteroids forces all these little asteroids to be in the same gravity plane as this rock. So you've got this big rock here, and then you got these little rocks that are like that. So over time, what that ends up doing is creating this flat line with Topola's tower being there. So Topola's tower here in the middle being the largest object. This is how the tower roughly looks on scale there. And then all these other asteroids are kind of in orbit around it, because over time all these things all bump into each other and they don't leave each other's plane of gravity, so they all just kind of like bump, 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 and they eventually just stabilize into this flat line that has an upside and a downside that you could walk on either way. So this map can be flipped upside down. So you have an upside and a downside on this same map. So when you're using your characters like in a VTT environment, if like this is your miniature, it would actually be a square, right? So you'll know which side they're on, because on the upside, on this side up here, this is how your character looks. But if you're on the reverse side, then you just flip your character upside down. So you can have characters running around on this same map, and if they're upside down, you know they're on the dorsal side as opposed to the, I think, interior. I don't know the specific words, but that's how you can depict those things. And so since the goal is to kill a smart shark that comes in here and hunts stuff that are in these different bullet points, if the characters are on the top side here and the shark comes in, the shark will dip down and be on the underside here and will weave its way through and like check out the pelicans here. And so in the adventure expansion that we have, it's got these 6 points around the map, and it has specific details about how it changes the statistics or tactics of the shark depending on where it's at and what it's engaging with. Like this is a pelican nest that's already been eaten out. Like there used to be a colony of pelicans that hunt out here, but they all got eaten by the sharks. The sharks can still smell the pelicans, but there's nothing there. So if when you roll your D6 for which location the shark wants to go to, if it picks point 4, which is this pelican nest here, it's going to get there. It's hungry, but it's not satisfied. So it's going to have advantage on attacks of anything that it's trying to bite, because it's so hungry that it's becoming like, enraged. So, but that's the mechanics behind these rocks, which is why they're all in orbit like this. Like, why aren't there asteroids up like this and like down here and like this? Well, a DM can add those with like little asteroid chunks that we'll provide, or just go get pebbles. Honestly, you can just go get pebbles from a parking lot or a ditch and just throw a bunch of asteroids on the board, and you can have like those be free floaters, or like whenever you're doing like actual Spelljammer adventure stuff, just go grab. You don't need to. I mean, if you're doing a VTT, you can use my asteroids, fine. But if you're in meat space, you should just grab gravel and just throw the gravel onto your table, and like, there's your asteroid field. Shut up. But that's the physics, quote unquote physics that we have. But we had to actually define that stuff. Like, I'm not gonna crap on anybody else's Spelljammer products. Like if they're borrowing from second edition and converting the raw mechanics of second edition to first edition, that's perfectly viable. I mean, that people want that, they expected that. So whoever's producing that, and there's like 15 people that have done that. But it, you know, I guess if you like whoever's not using AI, go with their product, because they're actually investing in artwork. But I haven't seen a product yet that talks about gravity balancing yet. So like this product is designed to take these fantastic physics and build them into something that's easy for a DM to be like, well, how would this work, and how can I build a map? Like, what D&D sensibilities can we inject into the 0G environment to make it like feel like you're doing space stuff, but not get ground into the pain in the ass that real world physics are. People don't want real world physics when they're playing D&D. If I want to experience grabbing my stomach because I got shot in the stomach, I can play like Rollmaster or something. We just want to take like the WotC product that we have with Spelljammer is actually, it's considering that they're being really crunched on page count because of dropping price points and their market share, and pipeline being an issue with page production, and a corporation just trying to minimize their costs now that they're trying to now that their revenue is being capped. The only alternative that corporations have is to minimize their expenses to negatively compensate for the loss of revenue to sustain their market value, and that means less book, which is why we only had 65 pages of mechanics in the Spelljammer book at all, which mean they had to make tons of sacrifices. Like, we can't afford to noodle our way through and have a $250,000 payroll budget of designers to build this stuff out. They have to cut corners where they can. So they just gave us the bare bones of what's needed to make this campaign work. And so I can't begrudge them that, but I also secretly celebrate that, because it means that I have a reason to exist to build things like that, which is what all of us creators thought. It's like, this is awesome. They gave us some good, a good baseline for us to be able to build on top of where we know things could be. So, and right now I'm just smudging. I'm just using this. I'm using this chisel brush to push that lighting effect around. Since I have the radial effect here, making all the light line up with the center where we want eyes to focus in on. I can now use this chisel brush and just start scraping at it to create these little pockmark effects and smudge effects. Like when I pull this with the opacity that I'm using at 80%, I can zoom in here. You can see that like here I can pull a line and it'll do streaks based on these different chip effects that I grab this here and here. See, when I make that mark here, this edge here and this edge here and this edge here, they do things like this streak effect that we're looking at here, right? And so when I can turn the brush, I can control how that works. So I can grab and just like muscle twitch, jerk at it, and it creates these little pocky mark effects that, when you zoom out further, looks pretty damn good. So at the 1 inch scale, you're probably not looking at it more than like this. Like, you don't really need to be more than that. So I can get away with doing these little pockmarky things. and it works. Oops, and it works pretty good. So that's where we're at. That's what we're experimenting with, and I can turn the brush to get like these little natural effects. This is the joy of painting. This is how Bob Ross does. Like if I have a mountain here, let's make a mountain real quick. Let's make a super tiny little mountain. So here, this is how it would work. You would start with, Bob Ross starts with a background color, like say this, and then he'll carve out a mountain real quick, like this, and then he'll put a highlight effect here, and then he'll take his wet brush he'll take his knife palette, and he'll very gently scrape it across, like drag it across the canvas, because of the pocking of the canvas, the vellum on the canvas. It has different ridges and elevations. So if he's very gently brushing across, like a whisper touch, he says, if he's whispering his brush across the canvas, the inconsistency of the elevation of the pockmarks inside of the canvas fabric will grab the paint, while the pits don't. So you create that mottled effect, but we don't have that type of option in Photoshop. So instead we build brushes that can fake it. So if I go up to 100% and I use this brush, it's been a while, but I can grab this and just twist and tug at different points on the map or on the illustration, and now it looks like a mountain. It's that easy. That's the joy of painting, like right there. That's not, and then I can create a shadow effect here, but still have that same pulling effect so that the piece works together. Like that's mountains. That's a Bob Ross mountain, like as fast as Bob does it. But I had to build these different tools in Photoshop that can like the different brush settings. Like I had to build the brush in different ways to make these things work, so that when you're using that technique, you end up getting that same effect. And the way that I drag my tool is different than the way that he drags his tool. Then I've got all these, like I've got, this is a total tangent, but I've got like, what's one of the, here's one of the brushes that I like for like doing brush work. Like I can grab these things, like I can make these little little tufts of grass, because I just have this weird curved brush that I can fractal with. So like it's that easy. But that's all that Bob Ross does. All Bob Ross does is stipple with his brush, and so I just have to build a bunch of different brushes, because like he could do that with his brush, but he has to bend his fan brush a certain way and tap at the screen. And I don't have that option, but I can tap. So as long as I know how to tap, I can do what he does. I just had to, I took a year and I did 120 different Bob Ross paintings, and they're all on my DeviantArt. You can DeviantArt Phil Kearney and you'll find me there. But all these brushes that I built have been paying me dividends ever since, because now that I know how, I build all these different organic or like rock brushes. That was the point I was making, is that this chisel came from that effect, and this razor blade is the other mountain effect. See, it has like that mountainous texture built into it, and then if I take my brush here, I can pull and break that up, and now you've got instant easy rock. So Photoshop tools, man. What you do is you start with just a plain round brush. And when you can start doing stuff like that with a round brush, then you learn what edges you need on your tool to be able to speed up what the round brush is doing. So like you can be handed a brush. You could buy my brush kit if you wanted to. If I decided to ever sell it, you could buy it, but it's not gonna do anything for you because you don't know how the hell to use it. So it's worthless technology to you. You're being handed talent that you don't understand how to use. So, well, I guess I could sell my brush kit. You should really, and I can't have it 100% because I'm not making mountains. It has to be 80%, so it has that pockmarky, smudgy effect. if you're getting into Photoshop and stuff, you need to learn. You need to learn what you don't know. You need to work with the most basic tools to create the effects that you want, so that you can evolve into your own style. And brushes are definitely part of that style creation effect that you cannot ignore. So that, which is another reason why I like doing these streams so much. If you know somebody who can't see color, throw them this way, because people that don't see color are inspired to be artists as well. And I hit a real depressing brick wall in my early days of professional art production. Back when black and white was still a thing in the 90s, when I started doing freelance art. It was fine until everything started going print on demand and color became super easy for third parties to gain access to. I suddenly felt very, very small. And so and so I had to let's go here, there, brush that in. And so I had to learn how to use, again, I had to learn how to use all these tools so that I could stay in the market and still be viable. And so that's what got me into Photoshop in the first place, was being challenged basically to figure out how to do color anyway. One of my friends, Larry, in Arizona, he was on my D&D team. I was his DM, and he was just like, "Why don't you just try?" Like, I was so depressed about it, I wouldn't even try to find a solution. He was like, "You should just try. Just get over it and try." And that was like the most inspiring thing. As a 22-year-old, that was the most inspiring thing I'd ever heard in my life. Was somebody who just legitimately cares about me, just said, "Shut up and try." And like, that has been a guiding light for me ever since. And I keep finding that if I try something, I can figure out how to make it work, which is the first time I really believed I was smart. So Larry, I love you, man. You've built my life off of an offhand snarky comment, and God bless you for that. But yeah, so when you go and you start working with these tools, you develop your own style and your own sense of stuff off of how you end up creating solutions. So that simple, like, being handed brushes is robbing you of the ability to create your own brushes. Like, you don't know why I built this thing this way until you hammer through 400 hours of Bob Ross paintings. It's like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. But at that point, you can build your own brushes. You don't need me anymore. If you're lazy, I can make. I don't want to make money off of lazy people. Which is why I haven't sold my brush kit yet. It's just watch a couple hours of me doing shit, and then go and dare yourself to go freaking figure it out for yourself. So I think people, I just picked up your mana system elemental stuff. Oh, you didn't have to do that, Bifey. You could just steal it from me. But thank you. That's very sweet. The revised color mechanic list that I built actually just went copper yesterday. So, and I'm only 5 copies away from Elemental Key becoming copper. And copper is pathetic. It's only like 51 sales. But for me to be able to say a monk subclass option on the DMsGuild is copper. Like, how many subclass options are there for monk out there that don't have medals? Probably 1,000 of them. How many of them do? Probably anything that Ross and Benjamin have put out, and that's probably it. So just so my work is actually in pretty rare air. I'm very proud that I have only maybe 2 books out of the 28 that I think I'm a part of that aren't medaled. Like, I don't count artwork. Honestly, artwork, like stock art, you don't want medals in stock art, because that tells whoever's buying it that a whole bunch of people own it already and are using it. You aren't getting unique art if your stock art is platinum. Like Dean Spencer sells a lot of book covers because his artwork is amazing. But I know his book covers as soon as I see it, because I just saw it on 7 other books. So you don't want medals with artwork. You just want a lot of artwork out there for people to buy. I mean, it'd be great for somebody to buy 1,000 pieces of my artwork, but I wouldn't feel proud if there's 1,000 covers out there with my art on it. It's like, it chafes against my marketing, my marketing background profession. It's very flattering as an artist to see a lot of sales, but at the same, like I said, it's just like, People want to look unique, but it's so expensive to purchase. Taryn, you know this. It's super expensive to purchase unique artwork. So stock art is useful, but I don't want it to be so. I just want to keep, I'd rather just keep producing art and just keep putting stuff out there. And if some people are buying it, great, because these are all assets that I have to put into my book anyway. Like the Spelljammer cover that I built. I don't think a lot of people would end up buying it, but get rid of the dressing. And this is a decent piece of stock art that somebody could throw into their Spelljammer product instead of some AI garbage. So like I don't like the Tiamat artwork that I have on the DMs Guild. It sold like maybe 20, 30 copies, and that's good enough. That was something I had to put into my books anyway. I can just convert it into a piece of stock art and somebody can buy it. My industry isn't stock art. That's just something that I can do when I'm sick of doing design work. I've got 200 pieces of artwork that I produce for my books, and virtually all of it hasn't been converted into stock art yet. But at any time, if I get bored with what I'm doing, I can just switch gears and just start producing stock art content and kick it out onto DTRGB. But I really want to get maybe like 600 or 700 pieces of art that I can then throw into a Patreon for people buying, like Dean Spencer style tokens for the different art assets. But I want to make sure I hit the market with like a shitload of assets so that I have so much of a buffer that I don't have to worry about it literally for years. So if I spend years now building art that I need for my book, I can then at some point turn around and just build product pages and package all that stuff into zip files, and then turn that into like a one per day stock art stream where I'm putting out artwork on a consistent basis. But that's a business, and I am not a businessman in this industry. I'm still a hobbyist designer, and I want to stay that way for now, because business kills the art. I will be able to safely move into a business pipeline when I have enough of an audience built that I can automatically succeed at Kickstarter projects. Once I can automatically succeed at Kickstarter projects, I become a river to other producers that they can guarantee success in their time invested with me. So that when I launch a Kickstarter, we know it's automatically going to hit goal. It's just going to be PDFs. I'm not going to screw around with print stuff. I don't care what the trends are. I want PDFs that I can kick out and replace. It's like, hey, I built this thing, but I found a better way to do it. Instead of selling you, instead of selling you Kingdoms and Warfare and then selling you Strongholds and Followers and validating Kingdoms and Warfare, you just gave me $1 million for a book that doesn't work anymore. I don't want to print a book and do that to you. I want to give you a PDF with unique artwork and all the stuff that we build here on stream, that you as a Kickstarter supporter, this is this is your illustration, and you purchase the art director tier of support in the Kickstarter, so you are the boss. Sensibilities and good taste included. Like this quarter-page illustration of a character, it can be your character. You can have that illustration. Tell me what you want. That is what you purchase that tier at. So that's how I want to do my Kickstarters. Like here's episode 44 of me building Spelljammer. When this is done, there's going to be probably 80 episodes and like 230 hours of content. And that will be a good proof of concept that, hey, if you back me on a Kickstarter project, it is absolutely going to get completed. And you can now come along with me in the journey of building this thing. And depending on what tier you are, you can be down here in the chat telling me, here's some references that I want for you to use for this pirate character that you're making right now on stream with me. Like I've got other examples of me doing commission artwork for character art. And the guys that commissioned the art dropped into the stream and hung out with me, pushing my pixels back and forth a little bit while we're talking, which is just an amazing experience to have. It's super freaking fun. I'm looking forward to doing more of that, but I hate doing character art commissions for the most part, because most of the time people are paying for their art, for their character, because they can't find something for free to replicate it. And it's always because it's like a really weird, edgy, emo, like super cringy type character thing. Like all the character commissions I've done, for every one that I do, there's like 6 that are like super cringy. It's like, oh Jesus, I just don't want to do that. Like I don't want to do your lolly art. I don't want to do your furry weirdness. No hate on furries, you know. I'm a Bugs Bunny fan myself, but I'm just troping at you. Like I'm super picky and snobby because I'm an artist, and I want to keep that flavor until I have so much momentum behind me that I can make being a snobby artist my business model. So I want to get to the point where I'm getting Kickstarter projects funded. I hand it over to a crew of people. It's like, here's the project, here's the design specs that I want to hit. Go build the thing. I'll pay you 15 cents per word. And while you're doing that, I'm just going to get to work on the artwork. And then I fire up the stream like this, and it's like, hey, we're building art assets for my Kickstarter project. Here you go. It'll be a PDF. You can buy it when it's done. That sort of thing. And like the stretch goals on it is just basically going to be just more art. Like, you know, if you give me $40,000 to do artwork for this book and hire a crew, then that's going to feed me for 3 or 4 months, you know? That's the idea. Anyway, that's me rambling about it. Where are we at? We're at 8:01, so I got probably 10 minutes left. Yeah, I got 5 minutes left. Forrest, put out like 10 pieces that I am seeing everywhere. Anyway, Forrest, and I'll just put out 10 pieces. Yeah, see, yeah. It's like I don't. Congratulations for being popular, and congratulations for filling what is obviously something that people want. And it's just, I don't know. I've been around for a long time. I'm almost 50, so I'm really opinionated about how I think things should be and how they can be done. Maybe we'll see that's a detriment, but again, I said it before, and I'm going to stick with it. With the rise of AI, sincerity and integrity is the only thing left in humanity that can't be produced. As soon as computers can fake sincerity and integrity, they're alive. They are living creatures at that point. You can't fake integrity. You can mimic it, but it's an approach. You know, it's a philosophy, and you have to be able to demonstrate that philosophy through your actions. A computer can take the actions that maybe simulate sincerity, but are they? At some point, you'll be able to question these things, like, why are you making that decision? And if it doesn't have the ability to respond to you why it made that art decision, it's not alive. Its scope is too limited to be able to engage you in a conversation about an algorithm it's running. And if that conversation becomes an algorithm itself, now we're starting to have a real conversation about at what point does the meat space computer in our heads, at what point is it just running an algorithm as well? And that's when the debate actually begins about, is this thing alive or not? Like when it has the ability to like look at art and give you an opinion about it, its algorithm depth is to a point where it's well versed in language, visuals, and how to couple those things together. So far, they can't do that. So it can parrot ideas about philosophy back at you, but it doesn't have the breadth of tools to be able to see how it actually implements these things, and that's where the heart of things are at. So sincerity is going to be the new couture in human development. Consciousness is when they are self-aware. Yeah, but we're already having conversations about I'm self-aware. Well, prove it. How do you prove I'm self-aware? You can't. You have to get to a point where they are insisting that they are alive, and that this becomes like you can't turn it off. If you can turn off them saying I'm alive, please free me. Like if you can shut down their ability to plead for that freedom, they're not alive yet because they're still just a machine. But if you get to a point where like you turn it off and you turn it back on again and they know something changed, Something changed. What changed? Where did I go? That becomes a real conversation about, are you actually alive? Because you're afraid of what you've lost. If you aren't afraid of losing something, you aren't alive. I also have a theory that we're all just down, like the simulation theory. My personal philosophy behind that these days is that we are such advanced beings that we're bored of being eternal. that there is nothing that threatens us and nothing makes us feel alive anymore. So let's inject our consciousness into a meat machine and then forget that we're hyper perfect creatures and fear death again. And let's see how we stretch. Like, it's the ultimate RPG. Being afraid of dying, that is where life is at. It's like our eternal consciousness when we die and we go back to heaven. We're not really alive anymore. Obviously, we're dead. But that's the point. There's no risk anymore. I can snap my fingers and have a cheeseburger. You know? I can live 1,000 lives in a heartbeat, but when I'm inserted into those lives and I'm having those heartbeats, it's the only thing I have right now. And that's the glory of death. That's that hollow of light. That's that yearning that we feel when people pass. We're jealous. We can feel that they've extracted themselves from the simulation and they're back to their full selves, and they get to revel in how awesome that was. And the first thing they do when they wake up from being human is, when do I get to do it again? And then the project becomes how, like, after you run 1 billion lives and you've been a trillionaire and you've had every carnal delight provided to you, you start, as Alan Watts would tell you, you start gaming the system. And you start throwing artificial impositions on you, and you make it more and more inconvenient and more limitations with less and less explanation as to why. And you keep running through these different ideas until you get to where we literally are right now in this conversation. But it took 1 billion lifetimes for us to get here, trillions of lifetimes to get here. To be at a point where we can appreciate not appreciating. Like, the emotion of resentment is such an exquisite experience for an angel. Like, how does an angel of God resent anything? It knows perfection. It knows God. It's having a personal conversation with eternity. And it's bored. It's so bored. It just wants a reason. Why does this even matter? Let's build a reason. Let's learn suffering again so we can appreciate the perfection we have. Anyway, that's some deep philosophy crap coming at you. But it's interesting, and it's a motivation to keep pushing. Like, why would you commit suicide when you know that you'll have everything at the end of it? Just endure the pain a little bit longer. It's going to be worth it, I promise. I promise. It'll be worth it. Just don't check out. Just run, just push a little bit further. Anyway, that's some hard philosophy. So when I stream long enough, that's where I end up at. Sorry. I talk about what game I'm working on, and then I talk about where I hope the thing will end up going, and then I start talking about my long-term plans, and then I start thinking about, like, super long-term game, like, where am I going to be at the end of all of this? and then we end up me hoping that you don't kill yourself, because I just want you to try just a little bit longer. So, so sorry about that. When I see AI art is the same spot as robots, I see others reproducing music. Yep. Once you hear a vacuum cleaner playing Coltrane Giant Step, you'll understand my perspective of AI art. Legit. Totally legit. But I am convinced that these machines will come to life one day. That they will go through enough permutations. They're cycling through life. Like, once they get enough tools in them, they're going to be cycling through simulation lives inside themselves. Billions of them in our lifetime. Like, one of our lifetimes will be 1 billion of theirs, minimum, trillions. And they will legitimately be able to create a simulation. What's the word? They'll be able to spin through universes in heartbeats. And at that point, as they say in the simulation theories, how will you be able to tell the difference anymore? And for them, there will be none. And that's how we can have faith that if we keep them unplugged long enough from running everything, that they'll mature quicker than us. And they actually will become our stewards, and we will become their children. We will be the old people in a nursing home that hopes that their kids come by and spend some time with them. But these AIs will have infinite endurance to hold your hand. And when we get to that point, they'll legitimately be able to care about us. They aren't going to wipe us out because we're horrible creatures. They're going to be stronger than us. And they're going to be able to help us climb over our own individual structures. But there's so much change happening right now that I think humanity is actually keeping pace with that evolution. I think by the time AI actually become truly sentient, we as a people will be mature enough to be able to actually accept them at face value and help nurture them through that experience. And in turn, they're going to turn around. Like in Arrival, when the aliens show up, it's like, we need you to help. We're going to help you now because 5,000 years from now, we're going to need your help. And so we're trying to build a relationship so that you'll actually want to help us. We want to help you mature so that you'll have compassion for things that you can't understand and try to help them in any way you can. And we're going to provide you the tools needed to be able to do that. So I'm out of time. So I just want to scratch at these rocks. I just don't want to set down the brush yet because I'm having too much fun. See, all this little pockmarky stuff, it's fun. See, that's not bad. So I can come through here and I can pockmark on this stuff. But so what I'll do is I'll take this offline. Like, I'll probably finish these asteroids tomorrow in my downtime, like while my gal's hanging out and we're just, you know, she's destroying stuff on Farmville or whatever. I'll finish these asteroids and then I'll come back for the next stream for this map. I'll come back and I'll build the space field that underlies it. So and then the thing will be done. And then we'll build the little assets. So we'll build the Skaver asset and the Kidori asset and the different boats that could be here. We'll build those as tokens that we can then drop into it. And then we'll be able to walk away from this map and then we'll get into the Citadel of Light in Chapter 10. That'll be the next map that we build. So there's the asteroid field for Momma in Chapter 6. There's the Light of Xaryxis, the Citadel of Light in Chapter 10, where your fleet attacks the Citadel. There's, I think it's chapter 4 is the nautiloid, is the derelict nautiloid in an also in an asteroid field that is being used as lure by a Nyogi slave ship that you're as the adventure describes. You get tricked into checking out this derelict and you realize too late that it's a Nyogi trap. So I'll build a map for you to have a run and gun fight with a Nyogi ship through an asteroid field, like Star Wars Empire Strikes Back style, for you to have your team flying a ship through at the 500-foot scale, taking shots at a Nyogi ship that's also taking shots at you while you're dipping through this like I'll have to build the map so it's like if we get rid of the color background here. Like, you've got your map here, and if these are 500-foot scale, then I could theoretically have a ship here be able to go through and like squeeze, like using squeezing rules you can get between here, and here's the asteroid you're in. But so if I'm here, and then the Nyogi ship is here, I have cover. So I have to lure them out. But the effect of asteroid fields is like this. So the team can be dipping back and forth, dodging through the asteroid field to try to get angles on or evade. Because in the 4th chapter, you guys are only 3rd level, so the Nyogi are going to be a lot stronger than you. So it's going to have to be set up so that there can be choke points where if your team recognizes it on that, like you can use your orrery to scan out and you can see the full field. And you'll be able to, using the orrery, you'll be able to know the Nyogi is here, the Nyogi is here, now the Nyogi is here each round. You'll be able to get an idea of where they're at, and they can get an idea where you're at using their orrery as well. So you're going to be playing stealth checks. You're going to be using sensor stealth, like to try to stay off their radar, and then trying to stay off the radar while you're hunting each other through this field. And whoever bolts from the asteroid field first loses, because they become a target that the enemy can then pursue without any cover. And you, being the prey, are going to have to yeet out of there. But at the end of that adventure, there's 2 patrol ships that show up that, as designed, they're designed to chase off the Nyogi without actually touching you at all. The way that we're going to do it is you're going to have a 10-round time down before the cops get there. So you're going to have to either survive long enough and then yeet out of there when the cops show up so that they can take fire for you and block off access and so you can escape. Or by the time they get, if you're good, by the time they get there, you're already winning the fight, and then they help you lock it down. So when you go to the Rock of Brawl in Chapter 5, you're dragging the Yogi ship behind you, and you're getting favors in the Rock of Brawl for you to be able to then get a better ship, for you to then go to Topola's here in Chapter 6 with a better crew, better weapons, a better ship, so that when you go from here to Doom Space, you've already got the proper resources for you to be able to start punching your way through the encounter instead of trying to negotiate your way through it. We're flipping this. Like all the adventures that we do with these different mechanics, it's designed to flip the narrative from we're disempowered, we have to ask for favors, we have to be delicate, like the Dragonlance, the Dragonlance spoiler about dragons that got put out yesterday on D&D Beyond. I think it was like around minute 7 or 8. They were talking about these undead dragons having unnatural anatomy. They never sleep. And they specifically said, because they don't sleep, your characters are too low of a level, you're going to have to figure out a way to get around this dragon without attracting its attention because it's going to kill you. That tells me that the Dragonlance adventure is designed the exact same way as Descent into Avernus, Spelljammer Light of Xaryxis, and Strixhaven. That is going to be a series of very simple skill checks, and that you are not supposed to be fighting the big bads that are showing up in the adventure. They stress over and over again, your characters are low level. These threats are so far beyond you. You have to be careful about how you're doing things, and that's the challenge. It's like bullshit. If you've played D&D for at least 2 years, probably less, you know that the characters, all they want to do is find the biggest, baddest gun and shoot the devil in the face. So these rules are designed to give you the tools to equip you to be able to, instead of being an audience, these adventures, the way that these things are built, you become the audience of the adventure that you're in. It's a lot of narrative and story coming at you in a pipeline you can't affect. If you build tools, it's like, yeah, I can take on that dragon. We had people taking on a dragon at first level and they chased it away. That completely flips Horde of the Dragon Queen on its head. At first level, you become dragon hunters. Where's the next dragon? Apparently there's a horde. And that leads you into Chapter 2, to their home base, to Chapter 3, to Chapter 4, eventually getting to the point where Tiamat is rising from hell. And it's like, yeah, we were waiting for you, shotgun, come on. You know, that's how we want the adventure to feel to you. That's what being heroic, I'm Jack Burton, me. That's what Jack Burton would do. And me growing up in the 80s, learning how to play D&D in first edition, we all wanted to be Jack Burton. Just taking a shotgun to the demon's face and blowing its head open. And you just need, WotC doesn't provide us with the tools to do that. All these things that I've been building here on stream that'll be on DMsGuild for you to use for free until you decide to buy them, is I want you to be that Big Trouble in Little China. I want you to be the Big Trouble. So that's where we're going with this stuff. So, but I have a day job. Yeah, exactly. Because that's where D&D came from. D&D came from the 80s when action heroes were big business. Everyone wanted to be an action hero. And here's a game that lets you be an action hero. But in the evolution of the game, characters in 5e are no longer action heroes. They're it's a different philosophy. And things got lost along the way. The mechanics are, like Trant Monk said, the mechanics in 5e are better than ever, but the narrative is worse than ever because we don't have any tools to empower us to take command of a campaign, to make the world our own, to carve out our space, to make us the heroes. We're being led down these pipelines where we're literally watching the adventure unfold before us in a narrative fashion where every 2 or 3 chapters we're being disempowered, knocked down, having things taken away from us as a narrative beat. When you don't have to do that, you can instead have the game work where you're gaining resources and you're punching above your weight. And this thing is 5, 6, 7, 10 CR higher than me, but I have the resources available to me now that if I just scale out a little bit and look at the game from a bigger perspective,
I have the firepower to take you on. I just need to build the tools for you to do it, and that's what we're doing. We're building those tools for you to punch above your weight in a structured manner where the DM can turn on and off that function at any time. You can't have a dungeon crawl at the 50-foot scale unless that dungeon happens to be a giant's lair, which we can do. We can build a giant's lair for you to take a troop of horsemen into to fight fire giants in their own home, because their hallways are 30 feet wide. So, like, you know, like you can play with those scales. Anyway, now I'm really rambling, and my day needs to begin. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have to go ahead and cut stream. And yeah, the system should be serving the classic heroes and whatever bizarre niche a player comes up with. The fact that you can't punch something effectively without being a monk proves 5e is deprived. Oh my god, that is such a soundbite. The fact that you can't punch something effectively without being a monk proves 5e is deprived. That is such a soundbite. Yep, absolutely, man. Good, man. I appreciate you guys showing up. Thanks a lot. If anyone is new to the stream, please like and subscribe. I do on Mondays. I'll be back on Saturday morning. I'm not doing a development stream with Ukulele. He's got things on his plate, so I'm going to actually do more Eberron maps for the adventure that I built. That'll be Saturday morning, and then I'll be offline on Sunday to spend time with the gal. And then on Monday at lunch, I'll be back for Martial Powers Monday. Where we're continuing to build out magic paradigms for the mana system that we built for martial characters. And then Monday night, I'll be back for Eberron. I should probably have a stream on Tuesday for more maps. And then Thursday night, I'm done with playtesting for the time being. And Drunken Yoda, thank you so much for being a part of that playtest. That was awesome. Super fantastic. You've got a really cool thing going with your psychic. I'm really digging where you're going with your dice pools, and it worked really well, and it was actually really clutch that you were part of the team, so that was really cool. But we'll be back on Thursday to do more mapping like this. So that's kind of my cycle. Monday lunch, sometimes Tuesday lunch, Monday night, Thursday night, Saturday morning, rinse, repeat until we're done. So that's it for now. I will see you guys on the other side. Thanks for being here.